The DeWalt DC500. When they're young and fresh, they're fantastic. They even go both ways. They're AC/DCs. But once they get some age and mileage on them, the fun stops and they stop sucking entirely. Unless it's your birthday. Let's crack this one open and find out where the magic went. Ew. Here's the float ball check valve, what keeps water from getting up in the motor. Strike one. Strike two. The only screw extractor for the job. Steady. Wilson! This looks pretty simple. We may be able to figure this out. But before we troubleshoot, a little component identification. Here's the 18-volt battery port, and here's the 12-volt motor, which is much smaller than I was expecting. This board takes either 120 volts from the wall or 18 volts from the battery and outputs a regulated 12-volt supply. Anytime you see 4 big diodes like this on a board, it's a bridge rectifier. Using magic, it takes the sinusoidal AC waveform and converts it into a flat DC voltage. They're super common in power supplies and car alternators. Here's the regulated 12-volt DC output, which goes over here to the motor control board. When troubleshooting boards, it's super helpful to identify its inputs and outputs. You can see here you've got 12 volts in, positive out to the motor. Somewhere under here, if I can get a shot, there's a ground, then negative to the motor, and battery positive and battery negative. Troubleshooting step 1 is to verify that the power supply is working. Hook up your meter to the output and you should see 12 volts when you switch it on. And when you switch it off, that's odd. After brainstorming, it seems this power supply is actually energized 100% of the time. If you leave it plugged in 24/7, you're wasting a ton of energy with this thing.
How dare you!
The next thing to check is the motor. It's clearly a 12-volt motor, if you can see past the glare there. Ugh. Now, with a beefy 12-volt power supply, fused of course, we can put power straight to the motor and bypass all that electronic crap. Did that just blow my fuse? She's small, but she's mighty. That's the ticket. Sounds super healthy to me. So now we know the motor and the main power supply are good. On to the next component. So what about the motor driver board? I've unplugged the motor and plugged my multimeter in, so I shouldn't see voltage when I turn it on, because the motor wasn't working. Wait, what the f***? I don't hear that weird buzzing sound, and I've got a nice 12-volt supply out to where the motor should be. A motor that we just tested and know works. So why the hell doesn't this work? Let me just make sure this didn't heal itself. No, but I hear a clue. It's definitely coming from that relay. It's only 10 amps, which may be undersized based on how quickly I blew that fuse coming off the car battery. These relays are only a couple bucks online, but in my line of work, I've always got an even cheaper source, the scrap pile. No. Oh. Pay dirt. Same voltage rating, but double the current rating. Relays are super simple. Here's the coil, and here's the common pole, which has continuity here when the coil is de-energized, and here when the coil is energized. It's just an electromagnetic switch. If you want the whole board, here's the part number, but I couldn't find one anywhere online, so if needed, I may just repower this thing directly from a battery made by a superior tool company. No offense to anybody who prefers DeWalt cordless tools. I have nothing but the utmost respect for your right to be wrong. According to the datasheet, these are the pins for the relay's coil. This is the normally closed pin, and this one is the normally open pin. And the one in between is the common. Nice. If you're careful with the specifications, simple relays like these are basically universal. Obviously, this isn't going to solder into this board, so I made these extensions. Lift off. Woohoo! Fixed! One more time. Good duck. For some reason, when the motor's plugged in, there's just not enough voltage going to the relay coil to keep it energized, and it buzzes like a cicada. Got the old relay back in, since clearly that was not the problem. When troubleshooting, it's best to only change one variable at a time, if you can help it. We need to find the source of this voltage drop. Taking a look at the circuit, one end of the coil goes to a shared ground, shared with the motor and the board itself. The other end of the coil goes straight to the 12 volts coming from the power supply through the switch. Somehow that 12 volt feed is the problem. It's possible the power supply no longer has the chutzpah to keep up under load, so let's bypass it by using the car battery. If it can crank a small block Chevy, it should be able to power a shop vac and relay coil simultaneously without dropping down. This is going to work. The only thing I can think of left to do is to bypass the switch completely. So I've got the power and ground removed from the motor board and hooked up to the battery. Well, that works like a hot damn. So the motor board isn't the problem either, which means I wasted my time, and yours, sorry about that, chasing red herrings. It must have been the switch all along. Always start simple. Just going to go ahead and wire this back up, and then we'll open up the switch and see what's inside. Always label things before you take it apart. You may be young and your memory may be fresh, but pride becometh the fall. And out she comes. Gonna have to drill that pin out. Crap, still can't get to the contact. No, can't get in that way. How does this come apart? Oh, I see. Next time I shouldn't lead with the drill press. Here's the rockers, and honestly, they look pristine. The pads look clean too. Oh, wait. I don't know if you can see that, but there are some arc spots on the pad. Arcing equals corrosion equals resistance equals voltage drop. There, cleaned up and soldered for better corrosion resistance and conductivity. Let's reassemble and see how she does. Now I get to pay for being too eager with the power tools. Gotta get a new pin, and I don't have one. This is an installation stay. Nice.
It's alive!
The moral of this story is, always check the simple stuff before you start ripping into circuit boards. Thanks for watching.